Hey everyone, so right here we have a lot of my foundations, as you can see. I also have, this isn't even the only basket. I have another basket over here of other foundations, overflow. I have all of my concealers here, and in today's video, I'm going to do a bit of a declutter. Hopefully this is all of my foundations, but honestly, I'm not sure. This room right now is kind of in shambles, so I really need to do some spring cleaning. We'll leave my declutter playlist link down below. I recently did a cream eyeshadow declutter, actually a cream eyeshadow stick declutter, and I thought we should do some foundations because there have been a lot of new foundation launches recently. A lot of new items are coming in, so I think some older items and some expired items can probably leave. By the way, you might notice from my voice that I am a little bit sick still. And my voice is just, it's not doing super awesome, so I apologize about that. But I am still going to try and give you guys as many details as possible about these products. First up, I have the MAC Face and Body here. This is the shade N1. You can see that this is the original packaging. This is when they still carried it in this big tube or bottle or whatever. That's the shade N1. I love MAC Face and Body. I think that this was a product that when I first tried it, I didn't really understand it, and I'm really glad that I kept using it. I like to do the trick that Daisy Cash taught me, which is you want to mix it into your fingers and wait till it kind of gets a tack and then spread it onto the skin. You get more coverage, and honestly I feel like the finish is like completely different. Like you can see here it looks super glowy, but if you apply it the way that I just told you, it actually gets more of like, it actually gives you more of like a skin-like, like truly skin-like finish. I really love this one. I am definitely keeping this. Now, a product I know I can declutter is the Marc Jacobs Extra Shot, because Marc Jacobs no longer produces makeup. Isn't that so bizarre? This product wasn't so bad though when I tried it out. Next, I have my Shiseido Aqua. I think I have another one somewhere in here. Here it is. So this is the original packaging. This one is completely gone, I believe. Oh no. Okay, no, we still have a little bit left of these. This is the shade 002. This is the shade that I always purchase. Damn, that's a lot of expensive foundation that I pumped out unknowingly. But anyway, I absolutely love this foundation. I've talked about it for years. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's perfect for a kind of beautified, perfected, skin-like effect that builds very beautifully, that looks gorgeous in photography. I just think it's one of those perfect camera-ready foundations that also looks good in person, and that's very difficult to do. There are a couple of downsides though. The shade range is awful, as well as the price. So that is one of the reasons why I've started to not talk about this one as much, if you guys have noticed. By the way, I do have setting sprays that I'm going to declutter in here as well. Okay, I know I'm going to get rid of this. This is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. By the way, I absolutely love this. I have this weird feeling like they are discontinuing it. Don't quote me on that. I will try and leave everything linked down below, though there are a ton of products to talk about, but I love this. It is such a glowy and pretty but long wear medium coverage foundation. Like really, this to me is very beautiful, not just for the price, which is something that you guys know is very important to me. I don't like to recommend makeup that is good for the price. I like to stand behind the formula itself, despite whatever the price is. But yeah, this product is beautiful if you can find it. Okay, here is the new Rare Beauty foundation. This is the shade 12C. I know I picked up the shade 14C, I believe, but this is actually too light for me, as you can see. So I am going to actually pass this along because I love this formula. I've really been enjoying it. It's very skin-like. It's not overly glowy, and I find that it lasts really beautifully. So I just feel like for a summertime foundation, it's definitely one to be on the lookout for if you guys have been wondering about this. I'm going to keep the shade 14C and then pass this one along. Now, a product that I was very disappointed in, and let me know if you still want to see my overview on Tom Ford, because I have my thoughts. I just feel like every other video I'm like more interested in doing for whatever reason. This is the Traceless Matte Foundation. This is the shade 1.5 Cream. I feel like everyone absolutely loves this one. Like, loves this one. Everyone talks about how it's such a beautiful foundation for dry skin. I found that it looked very heavy on my skin, and it transferred so easily. Like, so easily that I felt uncomfortable wearing it. Like my makeup was smearing everywhere. Like, you know that feeling when you put on makeup and you're like afraid to give someone a hug? It was like that feeling. Again, if you can find the Flower Beauty one that I just talked about, I mean, that one is basically what I was expecting this to be. Like, it has all the same qualities. So I know I want to pass this along, but if you guys want me to do that full Tom Ford review, I will keep this until then and then pass it along. So just make sure to let me know down below. Okay, the Kosas Revealer Foundation is my new favorite foundation of 2022. I almost said 2021. It's absolutely gorgeous. I have an entire dedicated review on it if you are interested. I will swatch all 3 shades that I have. So this is the shade, oh, come on. This is the shade 110. I find that all 3 of these shades I can kind of work with, but this one I think is just a little bit too light. This is the shade 100. So there you can see 110, 100, and then this is the shade that I reach for the most, which is 120. I find that it's the best undertone for me. So those are the 3 swatches for you guys. But I would definitely recommend checking out that full review because this foundation is hydrating, it's blurring, it is so fresh looking on the skin. I always just find that my skin looks good when I'm using this. Like, huge expectations for this, and it definitely lived up to them. Okay, I think I need a tea break. This is my Grinch mug. I feel as though the Grinch, for me personally, it's literally a part of my personality at this point. I feel like I've talked about that on my channel before, but I just love the Grinch, everything Grinch. This mug, my boyfriend's mom got it for me. It says, I'm a real Grinch before I've had my coffee, which is one of like my favorite jokes. Like the joke's like, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. Like I say that shit like all the time to pretty much all of my friends. But you can see that the C fell off here. So I kind of like it even more. Don't talk to me before I've had my offie. Anyway, I'm talking a lot when I still have a lot of other products that I need to talk about. Okay, this kind of looks weird, right? This is the Liquid Touch Foundation from Rare Beauty. Do you see how it's kind of separated? If you purchased this when it first released, let me know if yours has expired. So this is the shade 140C, by the way. I personally like this foundation. I don't love it. I think it's fine. I found personally that sometimes it just looked a little bit too dry on my skin. Honestly, it smells fine, but because I am like passing this along potentially, it might be something that I just throw away. Like I would really hate to like pass this along to someone and like they break out from it. By the way, this is the new packaging of the MAC Studio Face and Body Foundation. They call it the Studio Radiance now. I picked up the shade N0, but yeah, the formulas are pretty much the same. So that's the story on that. That I will be keeping. I will also be keeping the Nude L'Oreal Tinted Face Serum Foundation. I actually really like this. I have been noticing I'm not reaching for it quite as much as some of my other foundations, but you can see from the side, or at least I can see, I've used quite a lot of it, and I think that it's actually a really great, easy product for every day. So I have the shade 0.5. This is actually a good neutral shade. Here's the one thing. Look at how messy that gets. Yeah, every time you use it, it just gets messier. But yeah, I find that this is a really good shade for those of you that are more neutral out there. Great spreadable foundation, good coverage, not incredibly dewy either. I do know that like I'm doing quick swatches. You're not going to be able to see like the true finish of all of these foundations just because I'm applying them while they're still wet, obviously. So just keep that in mind. But I will be keeping this. I will also be keeping my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I might need to pick a new one up soon. This is the shade 2. I love this. This is just such a beautiful, perfecting foundation. If you want something that, again, it looks perfected, but it still looks like skin. It's a very like polished makeup look kind of foundation. And I always find when I go back to it, I'm like, you know, this is just one of those classic foundations for a reason. So I will be keeping that. Now, if you want to talk about another foundation that is more new that I've really been loving, this is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. I absolutely love this. This is the shade Mont Blanc. Sorry, I have like fuzzies everywhere from wiping off these swatches, but there is the shade Mont Blanc. I just love this foundation, especially if you want something that's more long wearing. It has just such a nice middle of the road kind of natural finish. It blurs the skin beautifully. I love how thin it is on the skin while also giving a lot of coverage. The hype behind this one for me personally is definitely real. Definitely one of my favorite foundations of 2022 as far as, you know, new releases go. Now this one is going to go this is my Morphe 2 Skin Tint. This is pretty old. I do like this foundation if you're looking for something a little bit more on the affordable side. I'm not gonna swatch it for you. This is just gonna get thrown away. This is a foundation I don't talk about a lot, but I am going to talk about it with you all because I have to be real. I'm not going to get rid of any of these. Where's the last one that I had here? Oh, this is the one that I'm actually going through. This is the CYO Longlasting Foundation, as well as the Soap & Glory Kick-Ass. All three of these are the same formula. It is literally the same formula, like the same lab was used. This foundation is the same thing as this foundation. Anyway, I'm not even gonna do swatches for you guys. I apologize. You can't find this anymore, but this is definitely one of my holy grail foundations. It was like $5 when they produced it, and Soap & Glory was like, I think around $10, but you can see that I do still use it occasionally, and it's just such a shame. Like, I turned my sister onto this as well, and she absolutely loves it. If you were a victim of the CYO Long-Lasting Foundation, drop me a comment down below because I'm still not over it. I am going to get rid of the Kjaer Weis foundation. This was definitely a shame because I didn't really like it. I used it a few times and then it kind of just got buried. And now as far as formula wise, it's definitely not what it once was. So I'm going to recycle that. This is a foundation I definitely need to pull back and keep using. It's the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better foundation and skincare. Let me kind of pull out all of my IT Cosmetics products real fast. So if you want something that's very, very thin and more so like a watery texture, that's where I would recommend this because it is very watery. It's not super emollient and thick, so that's a good thing for a lot of you. This is the shade Fair Neutral. So there it is. I personally really like this one. I'm definitely going to make a note to keep bringing that back out. This is the shade Fair in the original. CC Cream, definitely a staple. But this is the new CC Nude Glow. I did recently do a video comparing these, so you can check that out if you'd like. And this is the shade Fair. I'm definitely reaching for the Nude Glow a lot recently. I just love how thin and lightweight it is. It's just one of those products that's so easy, but still gives a nice glow. I like that if I want something creamier with a little bit more coverage, I can go with this. Or if I just want something with a touch less coverage, thinner, I can go with this. Keeping all of those, I am going to get rid of the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation, only because I just looked over here and it is expired. So that kind of sucks by like 2 years. It is what it is. This was also one of my favorite drugstore foundations ever. It's kind of hard to find it now, but if you can find it, I still absolutely recommend it. Let's talk about my Shiseido foundations. We'll be keeping all of these, and I'm not going to go through all of this because I feel like you guys are probably tired of me talking about them. But the Radiant versus the original, definitely go and check out my video that I've done comparing these. Go with the original if you have more combination oily skin, or if you just want something that's more of a natural finish. And then if you want a little bit more glow, go with the Radiant. But these are like holy grail, some of the most innovative foundation formulas that I have tried, period. They're really absolutely gorgeous. And I did recently pick up the Tinted Moisturizer, and I just feel like the jury is out on this so far. It's definitely lighter coverage than the two foundations I just talked about. So this is the shade 125 Fair Astrid, and I don't know, it's just like, because I'm so used to the coverage of the original Shiseido foundation, I'm just, whenever I use this, I'm like, I just want a little bit more coverage, though I will say that on the skin, it does give a beautiful light blur, and it really like perfects very evenly and like in a very undetectable way. So that being said, if you want more of a sheer to light coverage, you don't want the medium coverage of the Shiseido foundations, you could just go with this. All right, we're gonna have to pick up the pace here. The Haley's foundation, I haven't even touched this in so long, so I need to pass that along. The Colourpop Pretty Fresh is heading out. I feel like nowadays, it just looks a little bit too heavy on my skin. I prefer the Colourpop Tinted Moisturizer, just because this feels a little bit lighter, though I do prefer the coverage of this one. I think both are actually pretty good. Because I have so many that I love more than this, I am going to pass this one along, but I am going to keep the Tinted Moisturizer. And this is the shade 1N Fair for you guys. You can see it's definitely too light for me. Should I also do a Chanel overview? Because I was planning on doing that, and this was one of the products that I was testing out. It's the Ultra Lit Tint from Chanel. So this is the shade B20. It is not my shade. I want to keep trying this one out. I haven't given it a ton of use because you can see that it is not my shade, but I am going to be doing some self-tan pretty soon, so maybe this will be a good opportunity to get more use out of this. Also have my Chanel Le Beige foundation that I love very much, but you can just get the Rose Ink one. It's literally like the same product. I've talked about that before. Why did I pump out so much? Anyway, this is the shade Light. And again, this isn't the true finish of this foundation. It still needs to be worked in a bit, but it just is the most like no makeup, just perfected kind of water serum skin tint. But I truly feel like it's one of the more innovative base products out there. It really does just feel like an essence or like a hyaluronic acid serum, but it just very softly perfects the skin. Such a beautiful product for summer. I think I'm going to pass along the Clinique Even Better foundation. It's the shade 02 Breeze. And when I've used it, it's looked good, and like I do find that it lasts really well, but because there's so many other foundations, like I'm just trying to be real with myself here. Am I going to use this or am I going to use my Nars? I'm going to use my Nars because they're both very similar, and I feel like the Nars looks more flattering on my skin. So I'm going to pass that along. I know that there's someone else that can get use out of it. Makeup Forever Reboot. What a gorgeous, gorgeous product. This is the shade Y218. If you want something similar to the Chanel that I actually talked about, but a little bit more coverage, this just gives you such a beautiful skin-like light coverage with a gorgeous blur, a very, very soft radiance. It's just one of the best. So keeping that, And I am going to also keep the acne fighting foundation from e.l.f. I know a lot of people talk about some of e.l.f.'s other base products. This shade is not my shade, but I want to keep it for, you know, self-tan moments. Sorry, again, you can kind of see some of the fuzz since I've been wiping between swatches. But it gives you quite a lot of coverage, and I find that this has been great to kind of mix in to other foundations to get a better shade match for me. Also like the BB cream as well from e.l.f. It's around here somewhere. Ilia's Super Serum Skin Tint. This is the shade Tellum. Keeping this is very good, but here's the thing. I feel like I'm kind of liking the one from Tower 28 more now. Now this does have a little bit of a, I don't know, more of a thick texture comparatively to the Tower 28. Honestly, if you need more hydration, if you really need that moisture, go with the Ilia. I still think the Ilia is a beautiful product, and I honestly might even like repurchase it. But just recently, the Tower 28 Sunny Days has really been treating me right. I'm going to keep all of them. I have a couple of mists here that I'm going to keep. The Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Setting Mist is incredible for like hardcore makeup setting. Like if you got like a summertime wedding or something going on, this is mattifying. This is like heavy duty stuff. I wouldn't use this on an everyday basis. However, I almost always use this on an everyday basis. The Essence of Healthy Mist from Physicians Formula. Have talked about it many times. It is the perfect prepping mist. It's the perfect setting mist if you just want a soft glow, because this is just pure moisture rather than pure emollients. Like there's no oils in here or anything. So I just find that it does a really good job of adding that glow back into the skin, but it's a hydrated look. It's not like a greasy look. I am going to keep this cushion from Pony Effect just because I feel like I can finally start to get better use out of this summer, just because it's a better shade for my self-tan look. This is the shade Vanilla. So you can see it's just a little bit too dark for me. It'll be something good to have on hand too, to like throw in your purse. I am also going to keep this one from Peach C. What shade is this? This is the shade 01 right there. It really like just kind of disappears into my skin. And then I'm also going to keep this one from M Cosmetics. And this is the shade Cloud Dream. This one, ooh, actually, this is all dried up now. I might actually flip this sponge and see if there's any left in that. These are actually quite similar. I think the M Cosmetics is better for adding layers. And this really isn't a foundation, so I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna try and be a little faster. We have this with more foundations. We'll talk about concealers and then we will wrap things up. So the Wander Nude Illusion foundation is beautiful, but this has separated, so I'm going to get rid of it. I have another one of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Sprays. It's just so good to have on hand. But my like holy grail was the one from Urban Decay. This one is pretty much empty, so that one needs to go. This one's almost empty too. Urban Decay, why did you discontinue this? This was like my favorite for like a long wear makeup look. Love the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist if my skin is doing really poorly. Like if I really need a good glow and I need that hydration, that moisture, and more of an oil-based formula, this just gives you that light dusting of dew. Like when my skin is flaking, if my skin looks dull, if you need a quick fix kind of item when your skin is not doing well, you can apply this and it looks like you just got back from a facial. Expensive, but I do always like to have it on hand, honestly. This has separated. I'm going to get rid of it. Unfortunately, this just had a very strong scent, so I couldn't get through it. Now the Charlotte Beautiful Skin Foundation, I'm going to keep both of them, though I gotta be honest, like I never really found my perfect shade in here. I feel like it might have been the shade 1. This is the shade 3, and this is the shade 2. So I'll probably get more use out of these this summer just because they're a little bit yellow for me. And when I have a bit of a tan, I feel like I can get a little bit more use out of them. I feel like with all the new foundation launches that have come out, this isn't my favorite. You know, the more that I try new formulas, like I definitely prefer the Kosas. And I also prefer the Nude Glow from It Cosmetics to this. Like I would definitely recommend that one over. They're quite similar actually. I just find that that one looks better on the skin. But I have these. I feel like I should get some use out of them. Okay, maybe I'll pass one along. This Haley's foundation is very old, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm also going to get rid of the Misha Perfect Cover BB cream. I love this. This is such an like old classic staple for me. Like if you go back to my channel, I've been doing YouTube for a long time. Like this was one of the foundations that I always loved, or BB creams or whatever. It's just so good. The Bear With Me from NYX is actually a really good find. Very similar to the Pretty Fresh from Colourpop. The coverage is super similar. So if you can find the NYX one, but can't find the Colourpop one, I would go with this one instead. I love the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. This is the shade Light. I definitely need another shade because this one's too dark, but I just love it. I think it wears beautifully. It looks incredibly pretty on the skin, fresh. It feels very high-end, like the formula does itself. So if you guys have been wondering about this one, like as far as drugstore makeup goes, this is definitely one of my favorites. I just really, really wish that the shade range was better. This for me is gonna be a pass, the Candid Glow from Revlon. I was expecting glow from this and my skin looked so dry. Going to get rid of that. I have another It Cosmetics CC cream and obviously keeping that. I need to keep trying out this one from Undone Beauty. I'm glad that I am doing this video so I can pull this one out and keep using it. Kind of reminiscent of the Pretty Fresh and the NYX that I just talked about. This one is a bit old, so I need to get rid of that. The Say Slip Tint is so good if you just need a quick makeup item. Sheer coverage. For me, this is definitely one of those items that is so good. Those of you that just want a fresh look, you want a sheer coverage. This is the shade number 2. And whenever I use it, just like my skin looks good. I feel like it's just good like errand makeup. Probably not great for those of you with oily skin. Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Foundation. Now, I'd really like to do a standalone video on Lisa Eldridge. I'd still like to do that, but I have the shade 5. This shade is not my shade. I just feel like the undertone is a little bit off. And honestly, this foundation, I haven't been reaching for it a ton. Like reminiscent to me of the one from Charlotte Tilbury. It just doesn't flatter my skin quite as much as I would like. It doesn't have quite enough moisture for me. I am going to keep it though in anticipation for that review. The Glowish from Huda Beauty is a favorite for when I'm self-tanned in the summer. But this is one of those foundations that like is super, super glowy. Like look at that, like that is glowy. Beautiful item though. It's just one of those products that I have to anticipate, you know, I have to pair it well with other products. Going to get rid of the Glossier Skin Tint. There are just other products that I like more now. I have the Ulta Beauty Moisturizing Foundation Stick, and this is the shade Light Cool, which is not quite my shade. Actually, it's not as bad as I remember. This is so good if you like a stick foundation that is hydrating. Like it melts into the skin. It feels like water. And then I have the e.l.f. BB Cream, SPF 20. This is great if you want something similar to like the Cosmetics CC cream. It's really emollient. It has great coverage. It's not going to last all day, but it still has decent lasting power. Let's quickly move into concealers because I mean, there aren't a ton of concealers here, so hopefully we can breeze through this real fast. This is the Fit Glow concealers. I have 3 here. I have the shade Eye Bright, Peach, and C1. So C1 I think can go. I'm not reaching for it, though it is a decent shade for those of you with more neutral skin and more fair skin. I am going to hold on to Peach because I do like it for under the eyes. And then the Eye Bright, this is more of like a yellow brightener, just not reaching for it. So there are the swatches. I'm going to pass along these 2. Kosas Revealer Concealer. And I mean, this is the reason why this is so small compared to my foundations, because this is my holy grail. It is my perfect concealer for my hollow, dry, dark circles. Most concealers you will see, like when we're talking about all these products, they give me coverage, but they still kind of exaggerate the hollows that I have under my eyes. And if you have hollow eyes, you understand some products give beautiful coverage, but somehow it just makes my eyes look more tired. This will never be a concealer that does that. I actually quite like the Eye Bright from Milk Makeup. It's definitely a messy product that you can see here, but it's really good for like kind of fast makeup days. I need to pull this back out. I do think it's like hydrating. It's not going to exaggerate texture or dryness. And a lot of times when I'm doing like a full face of makeup, I just find that I want a little bit more coverage. The KVD Good Apple Concealer. So this is the shade Light 007. No, 107. I don't like this. I mean, I didn't like the Good Apple foundation, and I feel like a lot of people liked that. And that's okay. Like, I want people to find the makeup that they love. I just think that this line isn't for me. Now, the LYS concealer, the Triple Fix, this is the shade LN3. This one's pretty good, actually. But I found that as I continued to wear it, it would start to kind of separate and look a little crackly under my eyes, unfortunately. Like a face concealer, if you want something that's a little bit fresher, I do think that this one would work well on the face. Just for me, under the eyes, it wasn't a hit. The Chanel Corrector. I'm just gonna save your time on this. I don't think that it's worth it. I'll talk more about it in my Chanel review, but this is B20. Oh no, this is the concealer. I could have sworn I had the corrector around here. Well, the concealer's not worth it either. End of story. Now this is a product I'm still trying out from Lancome. I love the finish of this. I love the way it looks. It's so thin. The coverage is beautiful, but it just doesn't conceal the hollowness under my eyes quite like the Kosas. So that's the only struggle I'm having with this one right now. But if you don't have hollow under eyes, I highly recommend this one. The Rewind Concealer from Hailey's. Ooh, this is old. Oh, this Fit Me concealer from Maybelline also needs to go. As far as a drugstore concealer, this is my absolute favorite. Aside from the Undone Beauty, which is also an absolute favorite. It's just a little bit more difficult to find than Maybelline. This is the shade 420 Pink Petal. Oh, I really dug in there, didn't I? Really great emollient, fresh looking concealer. Just go easy with it because you don't want to build that one up too much because it is really creamy. I also love the Tarte CC corrector. As far as correctors go, I really like this one for more dry skin. And I also really like the Becca one. This is obviously now under Smashbox. They didn't discontinue it. My hands are really gross right now, guys. I'm sorry about that. Both are good as far as correctors go. I would recommend these. Or for like a corrector palette, if you want to use it all over the face, this one from NYX is really good. The concealers are a little bit thinner than the Becca and the Tarte one. So if you prefer like a thinner texture, you could go with this one. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to clean all of this. Okay, this a Pew concealer. No one talks about this, but this is the Moist Creamy Concealer. I know, not the best name, but this is so good. And I'm going to pull it back out for this summer. It's just too dark for me, but it's really, really good, especially for hollow under eyes. No dryness. It's really good. I just haven't been reaching for it again because it's too dark. Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Concealer is also a really great option if you want something more light coverage. I wouldn't say that this gives me as much coverage as like my Kosas, but I really like the texture, how it like really sinks into the skin. It's very reminiscent of the Milk Makeup actually, except this one is a little bit more blurring. Really good for those of you that want just that light veil of coverage under the eyes. You don't really deal with too much darkness. I'm not sure why I have the e.l.f. matte finish concealer, but this one is not a favorite. Way too drying on me. However, I do like the brightening concealer from e.l.f. I would say go with this one over this one, but I know a lot of people that would argue that they really like the camo line. So, you know, take my opinion with a grain of salt. I just think that this one looks better under my eyes. I also really like the Even Better concealer from Clinique. It's really good actually. Again, I just think sometimes some of these concealers, they're just not as good as the Kosas, so I don't reach for them as much. but this one blends really seamlessly. It has a great natural finish, never drying under the eyes. It's definitely one that I give my stamp of approval to if you want just a very natural under eye concealer. The one from NYX, the Bear With Me, I think this one's good, but just not quite the right shade for me. You can see it's quite light, so I'm just not reaching for it as much. I think I might pass it along for that reason. Okay, guys, I really thought that I was gonna be quicker than that, but it turns out that I just can't shut up. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it, and if you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me, and I will see you all in my next one.